Thank you for joining us today. I'm Haley Lowry, and I lead sustainability globally for Dow's packaging and specialty plastics business. Today, we're excited to introduce to you Bogobrush, a direct-to-consumer brand that has environmentalism at its core. With me is Heather McDougall, founder of Bogobrush. Heather is a super inspiring entrepreneur that we first met actually at South by Southwest. We had an incredible conversation about sustainability and how she built her company around the circular economy. I've invited Heather here today to talk more about how rethinking a simple everyday object, a toothbrush, can lead to a more sustainable world. And you're watching Looped In, a conversation about unlocking the power of the circular economy. Hi, Heather. It's so great to see you again. Thank you for coming on the program with me. So first of all, can you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Haley. I'm really happy to be here. And about myself, well, I am an eternal sustainability optimist and an entrepreneur. And it all kind of weaves together through my story, I guess. I grew up in North Dakota with my brother, who is also my co-founder. And, for us, growing up in North Dakota was just that every day was connected to nature. So without knowing that we were kind of in an environmental state of mind, we really were. For me, I took that just growing up knowledge and really started to turn it more into sustainability focus as I was in college and law school, and started to see how all sorts of issues were connected, whether it's food to our healthcare, to our products and designs and systems. And that's at the point where I was really starting to ask, what can I do, right? Seeing a lot of the problems that there were out in, the environment, from climate change to pollution, and how can I be part of that effort? And that for me really led me to entrepreneurship.
So why co-found Bogobrush and why toothbrushes?
So my brother and I answer this story together because we kind of laugh about it as a twist of fate. While growing up, our dad was a dentist. And so I think there's some subconsciousness happening there. But really, my brother and I have always been close. And while I was in law school, he was in design school. And we were both exploring these concepts of sustainability and what could we do to use our skills and our passions to make a difference. And we ultimately agreed that we'd come together and start a product company that would help bring more environmental and social awareness into people's daily routines. And we just couldn't resist reimagining the toothbrush. And a toothbrush really is a great place to start in the sense of looking at how most toothbrushes today are manufactured and the inefficiencies there. 1 billion toothbrushes end up in US landfills every year, mostly because products aren't designed for an efficient life cycle. So they end up as garbage. So a little bit of fate and a lot of bit of a system that was ready to help be shifted, and Bogobrush was born.
Well, I think it's awesome, and you also have great teeth, so I think that works well too. But to truly drive tangible progress towards the circular economy, we're going to need more businesses to be part of the solution, which is what we just talked about, and what you're doing with Bogobrush. We have to adjust our mindset from this linear take, make, dispose model and really treat plastics as the valuable resource that they are, and to help us all create better and smarter solutions for the future.
Yeah, truth be told, we kind of had to have our come to plastic moment and realization of just how good of a material it is for toothbrushes and for sustainable toothbrushes. Of course, when you're thinking of it in terms of recyclability, which at the very start of Bogobrush, our whole mind was to create a product that would have as minimal impact throughout its whole life cycle as possible. And that means thinking about where are you sourcing the materials from, as well as how does its end of life get used? Does its energy continue on through whether it's recycling or, of course, composting is an option as well. And actually, for us, we initially thought that bamboo material would be the best option. But after nearly 3 years of development with it, we really came to realize firsthand that that material, that bamboo doesn't make a great toothbrush. Lots of reasons. Essentially, a lot of materials are wasted, resources are wasted, like water, and even carbon emissions. I mean, just from us not having to ship our product from overseas, we calculate that an estimated 60 tons of carbon dioxide have been prevented from entering the atmosphere because we don't have to have as much logistics. So a lot of things pointed us towards plastic, and once we really embraced that, it helped us understand like why plastic really is such a good material, and that yes, there are things that aren't great about plastic, but there are things that make it such a good material that it's worthwhile improving on what works and fixing the systems that don't.
Yeah, so one of the things that I was super inspired by is what you've done on social media. Talk to me a little bit about the education that you had on the Plastic Gratitude July.
Yeah. So for July, personally, I said, no, I'm not going to do plastic free. I personally haven't done plastic free trends in a while, but instead of plastic free, choosing plastic gratitude. Gratitude is the source of compassion and open mindedness and understanding. And we can recognize that plastic pollution is bad, but at the same time, understand that that comes from an abusive system, right? We're improperly using a material, not from the fact that plastic is bad, right? Plastic is inherently a pretty good material when used responsibly in the right systems. And gratitude is a way that can help us see the full value of a product. When I say thank you to plastic, I'm saying thank you to like the dinosaurs and the rainforests and everything that went into that material. And because I care, then I want a better outcome for it on the other side. So it turns plastic hate into plastic activism and plastic progress.
I love this so much. And I think the practices that you're showing in education and production really takes a lot of imagination of how to build better systems and a longer term vision. So I think many companies can learn from the blueprint that you're putting into practice for the next generation and the future of businesses. And it sounds like you took a very proactive approach to designing your product with recycled content and recyclability in mind. And I think you're really at the linchpin of responsible production and responsible consumption. So, talk to me a little bit about how you scale this.
At the base level, scale and sustainability can be friends. In fact, they make really good friends. And it is that challenge between personal consumption and communicating with the general public about what is the right way and responsible way to engage in their products. But for Bogobrush to scale, I mean, as we scale, the better we can do even with our materials. Already we've seen that from when we launched in 2015, because of scale, we were able to invest in more efficient technologies and tooling. And now our product uses 40% less materials than it did in 2015. So we're saving, materials. We learn more about the product and learn more with our partners on how do we manufacture more efficiently with less energy, with designing the systems better. So as we scale, it's good from a business perspective. It's good from the materials that we become more efficient at using, and the whole system benefits from scale.
At Dow, just a little bit about what we've done that you and I have talked about before is we launched some new multi-decade sustainability targets last year. And that's put us on the path to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050. And on Close the Loop, we've enabled 81% of Dow products sold into packaging applications to be reusable or recyclable. And so we have a pathway to get there. It's not easy. Like how do you get to 100%? It's not always easy, but I'm excited that we have the right team and a pathway to get there. And so you're so passionate about sustainability, and you've learned so much throughout the journey as a sustainability minded entrepreneur. How do you pay that forward?
I pay forward the values of sustainability that I've learned through a lot of different ways. I mean, I think one of the most valuable things that I like to do is interact and engage with, well, anyone, founders, students, anyone who has an idea, but they feel like they're really stuck in that eco anxiety state of how do you move forward. And when I get to work with students at universities, for instance, and help them say, it's all about progress. We take the pressure off from having to be perfect. That's when progress can happen. Through Bogobrush specifically, paying it forward through 10% of our profits, we give back to causes that support sustainability, whether it's planting prairie grass or supporting neighborhood cleanups or some other form of give back. But everything in business and in my life is about circularity. So what can we give? What can we pass on of the lessons that are important to us? But also, how do we pass on resources once we have them?
Totally. I'm right there with you. And your journey and the story that you're talking about, how you were founded and what you continue to do are just really incredible to hear. What's next for Bogobrush when it comes to sustainability, and what's giving you hope for the future?
The things that give me hope for sustainability are kind of spiritual and practical, if you will. I have hope for sustainability because I truly believe that we are all individually wired to listen to and have answers for sustainability, that we cannot do it alone. Like, we have to be working together, because just like nature has systems, we're part of those systems. And the more that we reflect on how nature does things and we try to build those systems into what we're doing, the better off it will be. But we have that ability to observe and to constantly improve. And I have hope in that. I have hope in the good arc of being human on the planet. And I also have hope because realistically, in the world, already so much good stuff is happening. I think in the media, we're overwhelmed with very fearful images, and it's important to see the reality. But the stories that don't get told are of the billions and billions of dollars that have already been invested across the world in environmentally, sustainable companies, and just the trends where people and big leaders of organizations are going. Progress is happening, and the more and more that each of us follow our curiosity and ask questions, we each have a role, and it's a role that you can feel really, really good about, and know that it makes a difference.
Okay, so Heather, how has being an entrepreneur shaped your view on plastic?
Being an entrepreneur has helped me learn the value of being really open-minded and moving quickly. I had to come face to face with the social stories that I'd been told as well, that plastic is bad and we shouldn't use it if we're trying to make sustainable change. But as an entrepreneur, I had access to facts, to hands-on experience on the fact that plastic really did make a better, more sustainable toothbrush, and that for me as an entrepreneur, as the business to be a success, I had this opportunity to choose to break with the trends, to break with public opinion, and really drive towards innovation and stick our necks out in a way to help lead change and be part of real change that will make impact on the systems that need to evolve.
I love that. And yeah, thank you for not giving up on plastic. I think, I look at myself also as an entrepreneur, trying to work inside of a company to change the broader systems so that we can move towards greater circularity as a business. And what does that look like for our business models? What does that look like for new innovation? So I'm totally with you. You've got to be open-minded to what does the science and the data say, and then also how do you innovate and continuing to innovate around that for better solutions in the future. Because what we have today, I think we all can recognize is less than perfect, but there are solutions out there, and you're giving me a lot of hope that we can design systems better for the future. Thank you so much, Heather, for joining us today. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Be sure to check out some of our other episodes, including conversations with the junk luggers, with Avena, with Recycle, and many others. You will find them at dow.com/looped-in. I'm your host, Haley Lowry, and you've been watching Looped In, a conversation focused on unlocking the power of the circular economy. Until next time, bye.